Hi, I'm Air Quotes. Is your faction boring? Join the funnest faction in Torn City, the Resolute. We are non-toxic, highly active completionists. We have ranked wars weekly for fun and profit. Join the Resolute. We started from 5k nothing and chained well over 1 million respect in less than a year. We are the Resolute. We have great perks, good friends, good times. Join the Resolute today. Ranked war guests are welcome. Join the Resolute.
Matt Stonks Investments, the most transparent, successful, and only public torn stocks fund, is looking at your money. Weekly payouts, no losses guaranteed, and an average profit of about 0.8% per week. We'll make sure that your money is safely growing at a faster rate than those PI rentals can ever hope to achieve. Contact Matt Scops 2566807 for more information.
This is an emergency broadcast alert. There has been a confirmed detonation of a radioactive bomb within Torn. We urge all residents to remain calm and listen to Torn Underground podcasts.
It's recording.
All right, and welcome to episode 12. I think at this point I'm just going to say the next episode because I keep forgetting where we're actually at.
3 months?
Yeah, 3 months. God, we're incredible.
I love me.
I was, going through the Discord today, and everybody was inflating my ego about how good of a person and co-host I am. So,
I mean, that was 90%
cool.
me, but
yeah. But no, honestly, these 3 months have been crazy, and AiR does way more work than I do behind the scenes because I just get to come on, talk, laugh, and get off, and then all of a sudden there's an episode the next day. So
you do stuff too. Get out of here.
But yeah, so this week we kind of did things a little bit differently, honestly, and we kind of that's really what this introduction is just going to be about, how this episode kind of went a little different. So obviously normally we talk about a topic and then we do like a player spotlight, and the topic this week that we had come up with was net worth and, building a net worth and what do people do to make money. So if you're in the Discord, you saw that AiR pinged people with high net worth to kind of get their input on this, but we ended up talking to two people, which you'll hear. The first one is AiR, and the second one is Lieutenant Jelloman, both 300 billion plus net worth players. And the conversations with them kind of just took off and ended up being longer than just like a spotlight. So this episode is strictly just those two interviews that we did, because I think it just packs so much knowledge about how to get net worth and what people do to maintain this net worth. And I mean, you'll hear it from Lieutenant Jelloman that getting that net worth doesn't always come with making friends, but it's just about this game. Money buys everything. So it's how they get there and how they got this going. So this episode is a little bit different. It's gonna kind of you're gonna hear them and their stories on it. So, but I'd say it went really well. The conversation. I know I definitely learned a little bit from it.
Yeah, and I would say one thing. Like, I think our original idea for this episode was like a very hardcore how to come up from nothing. I was like a new player. I think there's a lot of good tips and tricks in here and stuff to learn. But I don't think it really fit that narrative exactly. This is still I'm really happy with both the interviews. This is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think it quite hit the original idea of the episode.
Yep.
So just so you know, because I know people really want how to come up from nothing kind of, money making sort of episode. So we would definitely still want to do something like that in the future. I think there's a lot to learn here. I think it just took a slightly different direction from that is all.
Yeah, no, definitely. This it started out as trying to be geared towards zero, nothing to high net worth, but I think the conversation, like you said, was great. So we'll do a new player one later on, and hopefully give some more insight to the people with not starting with 10-20 billion dollars.
Yeah.
But yeah, with that, let's let's get into our first interview, which is actually the second one we did, but in podcast time means nothing, like ours says. So here's our interview with AiR. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
perfect.
perfectly.
Yes, perfect. I've
Welcome.
just seen I become yellow. Yes, thank you.
Yep.
And I thought I should go on air.
Yep. Yeah, that's
Right.
a special access code.
Yes. So how are you guys?
Good. How are you?
Good. The weekend is gone for me. It's
Uh,
now 9
Oh, yeah.
o'clock.
That's right.
6 hour time difference. That's crazy.
Yes. But yeah, I have one more fun thing to do is to speak to you. So maybe it's still going on after all for me.
There you go.
And the weekend well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
So I actually already started recording just to make sure I don't
Cool.
screw up again
Yeah,
and
we
like
don't lose enough.
start recording mid-conversation.
Ah, yes, once you had that, right? You were like, actually, we I remember that. It was, I think, with Uncle or something like that.
Yep.
Yeah, I did the same thing with Lieutenant JELLOMAN. He just came in guns
Oh.
blazing, and I was like, oh no.
Yeah. We're learning.
Yes, but you are doing really great, I have to say. I listened to all of them until now. Maybe this one I'm not going to listen to because I'm not so sure if I want to hear my own voice.
Yeah, it's weird. I'll
is
definitely
definitely
say that.
We have to listen to it for quality control. We have to know what's going
Yeah.
on in our own show.
Yeah.
Yes, I heard about it. I know it can be really, yeah,
Interesting. Yeah.
bit of, yes, very interesting. I mean, I used to sing and I was also a DJ when I was at the university. And I know this is so super weird to edit your own voice, and even the singing voice is also different. This also sounds terrible in the recording. When you hear it, you're like, who is this?
Definitely
Right.
getting more used to it every single episode.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, so obviously, so this is AiR that we have with us, and I think all that is perfectly good. We could have, start the show off like that.
Yes.
But yeah, so the reason we have AiR here, and later you'll hear from Lieutenant JELLOMAN, is because I reached out and I wanted to talk to super rich people, and I think AiR definitely qualifies for that.
Yep. I would say so. Currently,
What's your net worth at?
So she's currently sitting at 374 billion.
That's a solid
Yes.
amount.
Right. It's about 40 billion. It's not mine. It is from friends to invest because some of the friends, they either don't know the stock market or they want someone else who invests more to invest their money. So I just got them because it's just 10% of my own money. For me, it's not a problem. I just also get theirs with me. So,
so you only have 300 billion. Wow. Okay. I didn't know that. I don't think you're rich enough.
340, 335 also, yes. Right.
Yeah,
I think we can qualify that.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
she only has 327 billion more than I do. So still a little bit of a gap here.
Even if I was refunded all my stat enhancers, I still wouldn't have that much.
Nope.
But this is quite a lot of money you spent there, right? How much is that actually? This is.
I think it's like 120 bill.
When we started.
This is also a lot.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
I mean, I did a bit of SEs, but it's nothing like yours.
Do you think like you eventually want to take a bunch? I mean, usually players that get as rich as you are gearing up to hardcore take SEs.
Right. I would like to do that at some point. Just I don't know what is the right point in time because right now I don't have any other good way to earn money other than stocks. And the more money you have,
right,
the more you can earn, right? And so there's obviously a point where you should say, okay, now maybe the half of my earnings I put on essays and the other half I invest and grow. I'm not so sure if I'm there really. Probably yes. I also have that problem with this ratio I have, the gene ratio. I quite like it because I have three of my stats on special gyms. I have the frontline fitness open as well as elite for DEX. And to keep that like that, because this elite, this gives me about 9.7% more each time I train. And the other one is about, I think, 2.9% more. And I don't want to lose that. This is like as if I'm working for a gym, working for a fitness a company, you know?
Yeah, fitness center. Yeah, without actually having to.
Right, right. So I just don't want to give it up. But I was thinking actually that at some point I just double my DEX, and then I work on my def also in special gym. So I will be bringing all four stats up, all in special gyms. This was the idea from the beginning on.
Yeah, that'd be crazy because I mean, with the new cap not being there, if as much energy you can put into the gym, will
Right.
benefit you anyway. So
Yes.
Well,
Yes. It also.
and right now, I mean, because technically you pretty much are ready for stat enhancers. But the thing is, though, the longer you put it off, the even better of a position you will be in.
Yeah.
So waiting, there's nothing wrong with waiting because like by the
Yeah.
time you do it, you'll just be in an even better spot.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, but at the same time, when you start warring, especially when the rank war was released and our first war with NS, I was like watching the ceiling from the hospital bed, all ranked war. And I was like, no, because I was at the bottom of our bottom of CR, like one of the worst actually stats. Back then, I got a bit. I'm still low, but a little bit upper than before now. So it's not too bad right now. The last war I could hit, I was even, I think, one of the first five hitters against NS 1 year after. And it makes a difference, to have a little bit of defensive stat. Not everybody goes full on you.
Yeah.
I mean, the first one I had, this was our first rank war, was with NS, and as soon as I signed out of hospital, there were like 3 people on me. I could do nothing, basically nothing, and it discourages a bit. So like I think there has to be a balance between what you get and how much you can grow, right?
Well, I went to the exact same thing you did in the same war, so I couldn't do anything myself, and I'm top 100. God damn it!
But I think it was the last one, right? I mean, we assigned someone to you because you were so good in the last wars.
Well, I'm flattered.
Wow, look at that! You had your own staff waiting to hospitalize you. Are
I honestly did figure that. I was like, okay, I was the top NS hitter versus Monarch HQ. I mean, I'm probably gonna get targeted.
Yes, so it was basically the deal why you were you couldn't go out of hospital, because we also have a good Gaia exactly matches your stats nicely. Sis,
Yeah, he perfectly went against me. I couldn't as I said, I tried like different boosters because I knew as soon as I'm out of the hospital, he's on me. So I had to have the right booster. None of them worked. No temps worked. None of them worked. There's nothing I could
do. He's also very active and everything. Yeah, so. Yeah, it worked well. This was a great war, though. Yeah. So after rank wars were released, yeah, this gives the question if yes, how much to SE and whatnot. Right now, for example, we have Steadfast for Dex, and I'm not SEing because I don't want to use my booster during this time. But after it's over, probably I'm going to take a few. I'm going like slow and steady, right? So.
We all started talking.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I mean, we're talking about what you're gonna do with the money. Why don't we start with how you got this money? Like, what was your claim to fame of getting $300 billion? Because that, I mean, I think we can all agree it's a lot of money, and it's not just something you can easily do. So what was how did you look at the game and how did you get this money?
Right. So today, actually, because it's kind of a blur how it went. In February 2019, I started playing, and I had no idea about Torn before. I came to the game with my current game spouse, and because we were playing another game. He's from another country, and then somebody sent me a link, and I signed up, and we were both there. Then I wasn't really sure how to start, basically. February 2019, then I wasn't even taking Xanax or anything like that, right? And then after we started, somebody sent us, because we were actively online, probably, come and join our faction. It was actually the faction before Psycho's Max faction called Subversive Aliens. But written in another way, right? And we both went there, and they said, now you should start taking 3 Xanax a day. And we were like, what? Like, we don't have money. I checked basically how much money I had back then. It was 200,000.
Solid.
Right. It was very bad. I remember I was buying met packs or something from mission credits and was trying to sell them.
Oh my god!
Wow.
It was really bad.
Yeah, it's like starting from the bottom.
Right. And mid-March, because there were like actually very nice new player some tutorials and stuff like that in that faction. And we understood we had to start flying to make money, because like this we cannot. And so mid-March, I started flying. So with flying, you of course make a little bit of money and you start getting Xanax, right? The Xanax usage starts at March 2019. So like in 1.5 months later. End of March, I was below 1 million, net worth, I think. So somewhere around August to September, we were, because my in-game spouse, he's also very much into maths, and if you already realize, I don't know, I'm also a mathy person, and my job also has to do with maths, and we were like, we were checking the casino for some odds of what is over there. And we stumbled upon an announcement from February 2015 that Chet was writing. We had given as much edge as possible to the player rather than to the dealer for blackjack. So
this is where that comes in now. Okay, because
yes.
I knew blackjack was going to come up.
Right, and this is like when we started. Then after we started seeing how many nerfs it went, over 2 nerfs, like once a year it was nerfed. I mean, February 2015 it was released. 2018 January it was nerfed once. The shuffle after every game came, and then there was once in 2019 when they changed the 5-card Charlie to 6-card Charlie. So, and afterwards, nobody was playing it, actually. I also asked, like, at the time, there was some people who were in the high in the stats page, and we asked them, and they were like, "Oh, it became so terrible. We are not playing it anymore." And but we sat down and checked. First of all, there are some web pages where you can basically check these odds by writing what kind of rules it has. And we find out that there is a 0.9 odd towards the player. It means if you are, for example, investing 100 million, you can win on average 900,000 for each game you play. So it's quite good, right? I mean,
when you also have a lot more than that to work with.
Yes, because there is exactly, because you can refill your casino tokens. You have 75 tokens, 150. It is in total. So basically, per day, if you could be playing 100 million for each game, you would be making something like 130 million. Not too bad.
A day?
Okay.
No, per
Yes.
game, right?
Oh, per game?
But no, per day.
Per day,
Okay.
If that was per
Okay.
game, then you'd have like 10 trillion right now.
I thought it was like an average or something, but okay, that makes more sense.
900,000. Let me see again. 900,000 times 150. Yeah, it's 135 million. It's actually
that's
quite a
almost
good
bill
money.
a week. That's solid
Right,
income right there.
Not bad. Yeah, you say, it's very good. Let's start playing 100 million. But it doesn't go like this because you have to have a quite bit of money to be able to endure the variance of the game.
Right.
So there's more stuff you have to calculate. You have to calculate the risk of bankruptcy. So because it might really go bad, and at times I lost 20 billion in a week.
Wow.
So it can also go like that, right? One day you lose 3 billion, the other day you lose 3 billion, and then it goes really like down, and then it starts going up. But in average, you win. But it is crazy. It's a crazy roller coaster, basically. And we found some theory behind this, and it is like whatever you are playing, the money you are putting on one game times 200, you should have that much of money available for gambling. So it is 20 billion. So you have to have 20 billion already in hand to be able to make this 135 million per day.
And, not a lot of people have 20 billion liquid.
Exactly. So we started really slow, like 10 million games, or maybe even like 5 million games. With the money we could make from flying, and at the time, there was also logistics being released in the game, and I had a logistics company with a friend. It was also making a little bit of money, and the money I was getting there, and the other one, and so on. And basically, it was all summing up and slowly increasing the money we put on blackjack until like 20 to 25 billion in hand for that.
Jeez.
And
wait, so
yeah.
I was just thinking, what do you do about getting mugged? Because don't you have to be out of the hospital?
Oh, I'm going to come to that. This is really terrible because we are noobs, obviously, and everybody can mock us. But we were not so. I wasn't posting a lot in the forums. I tried to be a bit of a low-key player.
That's smart.
I, for example, disabled the global chat altogether because there the people see you and then basically they know you. And then this was like a sneaky move, and my game spouse Water also started working for a cruise liner.
Oh man.
And I didn't want to do that, and I was counterfeiting every day for another about 150 tokens, and it brought my natural nerve bar to 20. And at some point, I couldn't counterfeit anymore because I didn't have enough strength of crime experience. But then I was buying some happy to be able to boost it at 12 o'clock at night. And there were like 3-4 friends who were busting me out of jail all the time. And I was counterfeiting 6-7 times and every day for 1.5 years. Yeah. And yes, and this made me in total 160 billion in blackjack until it was nerfed. And how is it nerfed? Because they saw both of us going high on the ranks, and somebody in the committee basically said, wrote to chat, said there's something wrong with blackjack, and then from that point on, it was nerfed. But there was also an interesting point where we started being seen on stats, and so everybody could see when we were playing, and the muggers were very happy.
Yeah. I bet.
And then they also added my ID, I think, to their bots. So when I was refilling tokens, everyone's like, all right, now the mug fest starts, right? This was also fun times. I bought a hazmat, so I didn't have to get a tear gas, and I was working on my decks like day and night to basically just slow them down a bit, so I could just bank in the money, because every single game is 100 million, right? During a game, when you win and somebody mugs, they get some money off you.
Yeah.
Yes. So this was the first chapter of the net worth that I think.
And you said you basically started playing $5 million hands. So you basically took it from like 5 million to 160 billion.
Yes, I mean 160 billion is my net. What I earn in blackjack.
Wow.
Yes. This much I earned, and the ones before me, before it was nerfed, the people earned much more. They earned like 500 billion or so.
Oh my God, that makes me angry.
Yeah. Yeah, and actually me too, because it is not something that we can do today that some people took advantage of, and it's gone, right? Yeah, it makes me also angry.
I mean, that's finding out those loopholes. There's loopholes in everything, and if you can, stack the game in your favor, you got to do what you got to do.
Right. Yes, it wasn't even like a bug or something. It was known, and we kept it very quiet. And I didn't even tell my friends about it. Very close friends in the game. Nobody knew, because I knew the more the people went over this, it would be nerfed much quicker, because you can just see the history of this. It was nerfed, like each time somebody went up the charts, it was nerfed, So, right, we were very quiet.
Yeah.
Yes. And one day I look in and I have seen the announcements, and it was written that 8 decks instead of 1. And that day, the blackjack roller coaster ended. I had been this was in March 2019. No, it was 18 of 5th, exactly. It was in May 2011, right before the stocks were released. And I was anyway thinking about giving it up, because with this type of money, I was earning more in stocks than in blackjack. And I was about to, because it was a clicking for 1.5 hours every damn day. And it was too much for me.
I think that clicking was worth it.
Yes, but you have to do it every single day. I was in holiday in a nice seaside village, and I was clicking blackjack. I have done it every single day for almost 2 years, 1.5 years. It was crazy.
I mean, that is a lot. It's just like, 160 billion for that. I mean, I think if I found a way to just do a lot of clicking and make 160 billion in a year and a half, I think I would do it.
And the thing was that because the odds were so small, because it was nerfed already twice, and there was a variation around it. So if you didn't play it exactly right, you could easily lose, right? So we had to play it exactly right. So we had like tables of things. It wasn't like just dumb clicking. You had to all the time check all the time and memorize some stuff. It was too much work, really. From counterfighting to this, and every day, and then after losing 2 billion after so much effort, for example, for a day, and your day would get shitty. I was like, today I lost 2 billion in blackjack. I feel awful. This was, this was fun times. And, but I had the luck to have this money from blackjack available for the stocks. When they nerfed it, I think the person who insisted to chat that they should nerf it didn't have so much money, for example. And I told him, you nerfed yourself, bro. Because this was the way to make money by just having, say, for example, 10 billion or something. You can play daily 50 million bets, and you could be winning like 50, 60 million daily, you know? This is a nice start of thing. And yeah, it's not, now it is only 0.4. It's still positive, I have to say.
That's stupid
if you
that he
want to
would say
start
that, though.
clicking, if you want to start clicking, I have to tell, well, there's a variation. It means like it's 0.4 instead of 0.9. So it fell down like the half of it. Now you can earn what we were earning. If you are unlucky, you can, I think, lose.
Yeah, I don't think I got this.
Yes.
I'm not going to start up blackjack.
I tried. I had like a really quick good night where I sat with 500 million and I got it up to like 1.5 billion, and then that same night I lost it all. So
right.
But like you said, you just have to have a lot to be able to play with.
Yes, it goes crazy up and down, and the money you can earn is that basically over a very long time, right? It just slowly accumulates, like you see it, but then while doing that, it goes up and down and up and down and playing with your feelings all the time. Right, and it's a bit of a roller coaster of emotions.
So they nerf blackjack, and you lose one source of income. And I know you've talked about it now that you went into stocks. So is stocks kind of what you've been doing since blackjack got nerfed?
Yes. In the beginning, the stocks were very lucrative. We were making like about 1% a day, which if you have, for example, 150 billion to 160 billion, like when I started it, you can imagine how the 1% is like over 1 billion daily, right?
Oh my God, daily.
It's almost like you can get like 2 SE a day.
Wow.
And you're like, oh, okay, I'm going to have like 400 billion. I'm just going to get 4 essays a day, right? But later on, it got also nerfed. It's cheated in a way, and Chad also, by the way, said that he did that. They fixed the they did something to the volatility. So it became much slower. Like before we were doing 1% daily, now we can do only 1% weekly. So around that. Still, if you have a lot of money, it's good money, of course, but you have to have more.
So when you're doing stocks, because we talked about it with Lieutenant Gentleman too. So you just kind of have just entry and exit points for each stock, or are you literally watching the charts every day to see how it's kind of shaking out?
Like in the beginning, everybody was watching for this all-time lows, right? And they were like the bots that were being developed at the time. It was pinging, now all-time low on Sim stock, go and take it or something. But of course, it doesn't work like that, because as the chat wrote an announcement, they did it in a way that most of the stocks do have a raising price over the year, about 10%.
Yeah, I was saying, I know when they released it, they said that at the end of on a year-to-year basis, you should see an increase of 10% every year.
Exactly. So, of course, this all-time lows will not be there anymore, right? Because the average of it is going down. So it's like a ramp, you can imagine, like going up and down. And while the ramp is going up, what I do right now is that, and this is my very secret now, I'm going to share it with all Tor citizens. I basically check for a stock which goes very fast down. Like, for example, in one day, it crashed say 4% to 5%. And then I go in there. And this I think goes quite well right now for me.
Because I'm assuming your idea basically is for what he's saying, for it to go up 10% a year. If something goes down 5% in one day, it has to rebound.
Right.
Like it has to get back to where it was.
Right.
Okay.
There are of course situations that it doesn't. For example, right now SIM is still all the way down and it's staying there, but I do believe it's going to jump up as well. Just when it's going to jump up, we won't be inside, because I think the stocks have something to do with the load of the stock, but this is just my theories and some people talk against it. Everybody has their own feelings or whatever about the situation, but I think I found to be the best. First of all, something going down very fast means the volatility of the stock at that very moment is high. So it might as well jump up quite fast. And if it went down all the way over there, some people started investing when it was only 2% down, 3% down. And if you go like 5% down in, sometimes it goes to 6% or 7% down, but after it rebounds and gets up, and then you make some money, basically. This is how I'm investing recently. Yes.
That makes sense. So is stocks kind of your lone source of income right now? Is that like what you're spending most of your time to increase?
Yes, I used to have some companies, some logistic companies from the first when they were released. I didn't want to sell them because there were friends inside, they were making money, and I wasn't making so much loss. Then at some point I sold them all and invested also in stocks market. I sold them all to the system. Yes, I think it's better right now to stay basically all liquid.
Yeah.
As much as I don't even have a GAC, for example, like Golden AK. I won't buy one because it's like 1 billion lost a month in stocks. So,
but it's so
why
shiny.
would I? Yes, it is. I know. And each time I see one being sold, I'm like, I want to buy. But
you could buy like 15 of them.
I know. But then after I regret, I bought sports sneakers, and I'm still trying to get rid of them. If anybody wants to buy, by the way, just let me know.
Yeah, I feel you. I bought 2 ranked warring weapons, and like I like them and I like using them, but I'm like, I kind of want the liquid cash again. Like I just want to have money.
Exactly. Like if you have it, you can make some money and still buy these, like, later on. And with a Golden AK, it's the case. You usually need it during warring. And I have some friends who rent me like 50, 60 million a day. And this is much more than what you can do with that money, right?
Well, also, you go.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Okay, sir. What's it called? That almost made me forget what I was saying. But yeah, I mean, GACs that is something that'd be better for once you do like hardcore stat enhance whenever that happens. Because the GAC is best for when you're like that big Megazord. Because the bonus for it can drop 50% of all the attackers' stats, and so that's really good for people that get grouped. So the people that get grouped are the Megazords, your Argus guards or those kind of guys. Deft.
Right. I went to London actually to the faction. The friend, the leader is a friend, a good friend, and we were warring there with Jess together, another friend, and we were both like, because we were all the top guys, stat guys over there on that faction. I will never be one probably in CR, but there you feel like God. And we all had these gags, and there were like 5 people on us, and we were demoralizing all of them. This was quite fun. I understand what you mean. It happens in like if you go to a smaller faction, like a mid-sized faction, you can still have the fun like that. Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, if you were getting a 1% and you had 300, billion in the stock market, you could get one every month.
Right. It's like monthly one. Monthly one like weekly 1%, monthly 4%, right?
Yeah,
the thing is, of course,
it's
it is.
changed now.
Yes, it also goes exponential, right? So this percent is like SE. If you put the money on the money, then you get more money, and it's so hard to resist to have the liquid. It's a good thing. Mm-hmm.
No, I agree.
So it's really a hard lifestyle, I have to say, staying all liquid and then not getting anything you want, all these shiny weapons and everything. But I did get a Delta armor, and I'm happy with that.
Delta armor?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good. Yeah, no, that's really good armor.
Yes, it was very nice. I waited for it quite a while, and around, I think, 10 billion. Right. For the whole set or so, I went in and I said, okay, from that point on, probably it's not going to go down a lot anymore. And
for a while.
Maybe to 8 or 7.
I mean, it sounds like you're heavy decks, so it's perfect.
Yeah.
Yes, I am. And heavy, it's not that heavy yet, but that's the intention.
Yes, I mean, but player like you would, like, with already high stats, but with this type of money in being invested in building, you're the type of player that in the next, year or two, you're the one who, that you got to keep an eye on, because you're consistently making money week over week, that eventually you'll get to a point where you, like you said, you can buy, maybe like 3 SEs, or you could do like 3 SEs a day or something once you get up to that point. So those are the players I think you have to be worried about even more.
Mm-hmm. Yes, this is, of course, like if you don't give in at some point and then say, okay, now I'm getting myself some fun stuff. I am so bored of this. If you don't go that route, yes, that's true. It should work out at some point. Or if the stocks go on to be like this, like it is right now. There are, of course, other methods to make money that I also use a little bit for cans and stuff that I'm using. For example, there's a merchandise services, 3 million a hit, like around that income you can do, especially good for those who don't use their boosters, because 25E, it's like if you can get 3 million out of your 25E, you can basically just directly buy a can and use it, right? It would give you more money, more energy.
That's a net gain.
Right. And this is the way to do it. I'm doing some middleman for company boosts, but this is nothing compared to, obviously, how much money you can make from stock market.
Oh yeah, I noticed that because I was looking for a company boost, and I was like, it looks like AiR controls the logistics boost.
That's true, and it wasn't my intention. I started that for my employees at the time, and I had the companies, and then after it stuck on me, and I made so many friends. They're like, "Oh, please get me a boost," and I'm okay. And in between, I also make some money with that. Sometimes I really buy and sell it at the same price, even. But yeah, it's like relaxed.
It's funny. You're we talked to Lieutenant Gentleman yesterday, and he also had like 7 or 8 logistic companies. So I'm assuming that's just a good company to own or run. It seems that we talked to 2 high stat players, and they both talk about logistic companies. Right,
especially at the time that I think he and we also speak with him, got really active. The logistics were just rolling out, and the first month, 2 or 3 even, there were like so much income from these companies, until there came a point that everybody had logistic companies, and it was so terrible. We could barely make really like maybe 10 million a day. From all the money you invested in, you have to see like maybe you have 7 billion also invested in, right? Yep. It's not a good, like 10 million a day is not a good income. but it doesn't have a good return of investment. If you would, for example, get an, I don't know, FH, the G block from stocks, it would be better without doing anything. And but then afterwards, the people noticed that, and they started selling the companies to the system, like I did. And so the companies get less and less. And right now, I think it's again quite good.
Yeah.
I mean, not like the first time it was released, I think, because there it was crazy. Like, this was like maybe, I don't know, 60 million a day, 50 million a day for some years. And these weren't even like fully upgraded.
Wow, that's insane.
Yes.
It really
was
seems
quite-
like it's all about finding that thing early. Like you found the blackjack before
Exactly.
it got taken.
Exactly.
You find stocks, you got into stocks before it got nerfed. Like it's about finding that like glimmer of money making before Ched gets his hands on it.
Exactly. If there is one thing that you can say in this game, how to make money, go in early. This is the only thing I can say, really. It's the same with this ranked wars, right? The people, they just got a small faction, like not even a million respect, and started farming this stuff, right? The awards. And they were like, and how much did they cost back then? And how much do they cost now?
Yeah.
The awards.
Yeah, there were quite a few. I remember there was a newspaper article about one faction. They had like 7 ranked warring farms, and they were just bringing in like billions just every week.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. This is how you make money. When something is released, you just go in and then farm it until the point that it doesn't basically work anymore. Then you move on to the next shiny thing, and there's always something being released. You have to basically just stay on top of things, right?
Yeah. But I mean, even, to people listening, it's not just about throwing money at the new thing, because like blackjack, like in the beginning, like you said, there is risk to it. Like, I mean, anything new that gets put into the game, there is a chance that it fails, and all the money you try and make quick doesn't end up working out. Just like you said, blackjack, like there was a chance that you could have lost it all instead of winning
Everything,
if you didn't
exactly.
play it right.
Exactly. Yeah. And I know people who did that, who lost all their money in blackjack when we were winning, because they went all in, and then they went with a losing streak on the first time, and R.I.P.
See, that's my
that's
luck
true.
right there. That's how I do it.
Yeah.
Whenever I try to get into something new, I just screw it up.
Yeah. I did
Like,
the same
Yes, you
exact
have to
thing.
be.
I did it with Russian roulette. I started playing, and the worst thing that could ever happen is I got on a winning streak, and like I brought my net worth from like 7 to like 15 billion, and I was like, oh, this is beautiful. So I started playing bigger games, and then my luck turned, and I was back down to like 5. Like I lost like 9 billion in Russian roulette, and I was like, all right, well, guess it's time to basically start over.
But the thing with the Russian roulette is that it's really zero expected value. So it means like if you go on enough, you are going to have no win or no loss. But of course, it also has a variation. So you can basically just go maybe really high on the positive side, and then you can just leave it there, and you have that money. But if you don't leave and go on, you are going to eventually lose it.
Yeah,
Try again.
Take it back.
Go another one. Double it.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the thing is in Russian roulette, it's so completely random. But that's what I was saying. The worst thing that could have ever happened is I went on a winning streak. So in the back of my mind, I'm like, oh, this is great. This is easy. Very easy to get hooked when you're winning.
Right. And then there's also this type of I lost now 10 times. Next time I'm going to win.
Oh,
No, the next time you have exactly the same chance of winning and losing. Just because you lost 10 times doesn't mean you are going to win the next one.
Yep.
The people just can't understand this. This is also called something like gambler's fallacy or so. I lost so much. Now I'm winning. Let me put all my money. And gone. Well,
I'm so happy I'm not really a gambler because like I'm already like prone to addiction. Like my personality lends itself to addictive personality. And so the casino would not be good for me to get into. Like I've had my poker bouts, but like I'm definitely up from poker, but like I mean probably not a crazy amount, but like I just don't go in often and like it only lasts for like a couple days or something that I'm into poker and then I drop it for another 6 months.
Yeah.
yes, I think a casino is really number one reason why the people are quitting the game. I, everybody I see like saying, okay, now this is my last day in Torn, and I started a thread or something like that because I lost all my money in casino, and yeah, and then it seems it's just either they keep coming or they just cannot. There's like this type of an addiction, and a lot of people have it. That's true. For me, it was really like this. The day it was nerfed, I said, okay, I never played again because I knew the math wasn't on my side anymore. Yeah.
Well, that's smart.
Yeah.
Just a lot of people aren't. I think that's the thing.
No, but it's also a game, you want to have fun. But at this point, I think 2 years playing this, I wasn't having fun anymore. So I was even a bit like relieved. And I was like, okay, now I don't have to play anymore.
Yeah, it gave you an out. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Take your money and run.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Yeah, so
like
I think I went over everything. Yes, so this was my journey basically. Hope I could explain it well.
Yeah.
Wow, that was great. I learned a lot.
Seriously, get in early, make some money, and get out before you lose it all.
Right.
Boom.
Of course, right now I think with the ranked war, there's a lot of other stuff also that then, for the new players as well to get into factions who are into ranked war and who are maybe distributing their cash on the new players. Yeah, there's I think more stuff going on compared to the time when I started. There was basically nothing when I started other than flying.
Mm-hmm.
I think
it's so boring.
It's still just.
I could never get into it. I mean, that's like basically it for new players. I can't get into flying. I hate not being in Torn. Like I feel like you miss so much.
Right, and now I think they fixed a little bit about what you can reach and not. At the time, you couldn't reach anything, not even your missions.
And it still
just
sucks.
Yeah.
Just to see the target. A few times I flew off. I don't know the target. What was it? No idea. And sometimes there's this overseas mission, and I think they fixed quite a few things while flying, but still, it's super boring. Yes.
I think we as Torn citizens need to petition Ched to build a rehab facility in Torn and like make it like double the cost or something, so I don't have to fly there. Because that's like the only place I fly at this point.
Right.
Well, the amount of people that would actually pay to do it in Torn, but it's double the cost, people would do it.
Oh, 100%.
Yes, I think even 10 times the cost might be.
Yeah, it would still be used. It would still be used.
Right.
I think that there was something like that, not with rehab, but I think there was something where people had to pay, the Torn citizens had to pay for something to be rebuilt overseas or something.
Yeah, that was rehab.
What it was. Oh, it was rehab. Okay.
Yeah, the rehab burned down. Everybody had to pay to fix it.
Yeah, see, so I think that'd be great. They'll have Torn citizens pay to build it, and everything in Torn costs more money, so you have to pay more money to use it. But at least you don't have to fly there anymore.
Petition to have one of these oligarchs pay for it. All the super rich people.
Yeah, you have to give a percent of your net worth.
Okay.
There'll be 10 billion from you.
Yep. Yeah.
All right.
Or you got to buy a GAC. It's either one.
I'm going with that GAC.
You have to buy a GAC and donate it to one of the hosts of Torn Underground that names rhymes with Helen. So.
Hey, that kind of rhymes with Ara.
You mean Era?
Helen Ara.
Aaron.
Yeah, exactly. Aaron. Wait, what? I don't even know what's happening anymore.
That's funny.
Hey, but thank you so much for coming on with us. I think this is gonna be a really cool episode.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, it was very fun to chat with you guys after listening to you so much. And yes, thank you for having me.
Hey, of
Good
course.
night. For
Thank
me,
you for
it's
coming on.
night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We still have a while to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we appreciate it.
Okay, bye.
I see.
Later. So thanks again to AiR for coming on the show. Next up, we have Lieutenant Jelloman, and it's really cool to have him on. This is actually the only guest on the show that I've actually talked to on voice before this show, and that's because he's in natural selection. So he's in there on in the voice during wars as well as me, and because you got to coordinate, and that's way easier to coordinate when you're in voice. So remember, guys, get on voice during wars. It really does make a difference, and just makes the game more fun and sociable. But anyway, so it's really cool to have him on. I mean, what can I say? This guy, he's been very helpful to me, honestly. Just the knowledge and advice that he's given me. I actually say it later in the interview with him, how there's a couple key aspects of that he taught me for my oil rig that I pretty much attribute the success of my oil rig to. It's going really well. And there were some critical things that I did not know that were crucial for it to do well. And that's one thing to say that I wanted to get to about factions and the people that you meet in the game is because I've been pretty natural selection since the beginning of natural selection, and then before that was JFA 2.0, so that is what uh, came into that was part of the merge into natural selection. And so it's pretty obvious at this point that a lot of the ads on this show are for factions. And, I never really thought about what ads might end up being the most popular. But when it came to be factions, I wasn't surprised at all. That really makes sense. And I just want to reiterate the fact that you really should listen to the ads and the factions that are advertising on here. Obviously they're taking it seriously if they're going to take the time to, some of them record it themselves, some of them write the script for me to do it, and they pay money to be on here. That shows seriousness, and I really think definitely pay attention to them, because what faction you're in is really what is going to determine your success in this game, and I really do mean that. So say, being in the same faction as Lieutenant Jelloman has benefited my account in a lot of ways. And it's those social interactions and those connections that you make that make such a big difference. So you really got to make sure you're in an active faction that is supporting each other. That's super important. So definitely pay attention to the ads on here, because those are going to be factions that take it seriously and want dedicated members, and they want to help people grow. But yeah, so you remember Uncle when Uncle was on here, and we joked about how he pretty much came in guns blazing, spewing good content just immediately. Well, that's what happened with Lieutenant Jelloman as well. So I wasn't recording when he came in, and so it kind of picks up in like kind of an awkward spot, I guess you could say, but it's fine. And we had a really good conversation with him, and I think you'll really enjoy it. But so yeah, the thing we were talking about before I started recording was how he owns a bunch of logistics companies, but as proxy. So that is when you have somebody else actually hold your company, but you put in the investment for it. So you guys like split the profits or however you guys work it out. And so yeah, he has like a bunch of those. I don't want to say the exact number, I kind of forget, but I mean it was like upwards of like 5 or more. And so that's pretty good passive income right there. And actually, if you remember when I said I ran a company for a friend and like I could have scanned, obviously, I could have scanned them, but I'm not a piece of crap, so I didn't. Yeah, this was him. I held a proxy for him for a time, and it's it's awesome. I mean, because you don't have to put any of the actual investment in, and you make money off of it. We did it a little bit differently, where he basically just helped me get it started early, and I ended up paying it off and sending him the money for it. Buying him out of it. But yeah, seriously, so something like that. Not having to put in all the investment right away, and just immediately begin growing it and pulling in profit, and then paying it off over time, and then owning it fully as a television company. That's only something you're going to be able to do if you've got a friend in the game. So that's something to seriously keep in mind. So pay attention to the ads. And so we'll get to that interview right after this ad. Looking to get your kill streak merits? Losses Russ has you covered. Kill streaks, defense, weapon XP, single hit damage. No contract is too big. We do it all. We have over 750 registered attackers doing an average of 2,500 attacks daily and over 500,000 total hits completed. Contact Fatties ID 2680594 or Kern ID 2441890 to start your contract today. Also, looking for attackers.
I consider stocks to be like the end game thing. Well, you need to do a lot to hustle to build up that stock fund.
Right, yeah.
That's very true.
And what's it called? Discipline, which is what I just don't have.
Oh, dude, don't even get me started. Like stocks is one of the most I like to think I'm pretty level-headed, but it's pretty rough. Even today I woke up like 3 times and all I kept doing was waking up, checking my stocks, being like, "Oh, it's good, it's like really good." And then it just kept going up, and then I finally woke up and I was like, "Oh, maybe I should sell." 1% is usually what I'm happy with. But what is it? My worst stock loss, I had like 80 billion in it. It was EWM and it was down 15 billion.
Jesus Christ.
And that happened in like one day.
In one day?
Yeah, one day. That was
I couldn't handle that.
It was rough. I said, okay, fuck it. I'm not gonna trap all my money for a long time, and I sold. I can cuss, right?
Yeah.
I sold half of it. I took a 7.5 billion loss, and then 3 weeks later it recovered to another -2 billion. So I technically lost 9 billion or something. But by selling out, I was able to go into something else and then recoup a lot of that losses. And that's the other thing that a lot of people in stocks are where you hear all those people go and say, just hold until it's positive, and then you find yourself holding for 4 months, but it's that potential income you missed out on. All those things you missed.
Right. And it's I understand that, but I still just can't do it. You know what I mean? That's why I haven't really been messing with stocks, and it's been a while since I've messed with stocks. But yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about, and that makes perfect sense, but it's just the execution of actually just selling it is just so difficult for me.
Oh, dude, trust me. It's I don't know how much you guys played with the old stock system, but it was a lot more risky to play. 'Cause the first time I went all in on stocks, right? I was still kind of not where I am now, but I had 40 billion in total and I threw it all in sim. And then it was down 25%. And I just couldn't sell. It back in the old stock system, you'd get stuck and you wouldn't be able to sell unless other players buy your shares off the market. And then so I gave up and then I went to mugging. I think I had 1 billion left over and I ended up mugging enough money to buy 3 lodges or something.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I enjoy toying for mugging, but what I try to tell people is you need to do everything. Money, it really is the most important tool in the game, and you got to use money to make money.
Oh, sure, 100%.
It only gets easier. When I first started playing Torrent all those years ago as a 14-year-old kid, I had no idea what I was doing. I just had no idea, logged in, put money in bank, my 12 million went to 30 million or something. And I was whatever. one day I found a parachute and then I sold it for like 260 million maybe back then.
Hmm.
And then a year or two later, I'm like in a faction with people I have no idea who they are. I'm like 15 years old, and then I see I had like 800 mil in the bank, and then I decided to take that money out of the bank and actually try trading, and then the next thing I know, it was like 3 billion.
Jesus.
So it's just like back then it was a lot easier to be a trader. Now it sucks in
I
my
was about to
opinion because
ask that.
everyone now is like, oh, I'll buy that for like $500 off of market value, and it's all like, well, there's no money to be made there, especially if you get mugged. But
It's all volume trading now.
yeah, all these people will go sit in hospital for like 7 days a week and just, I can't do it. I'd be so bored.
Yeah, for real. And just like if you screw up one time, that's pretty much all your profit in mugs. Going to someone
Hmm.
like you.
Yeah, it's like I always feel bad, but the salts I get from people that I mugged is always kind of like, it always makes me feel a little bit better. It's just like, okay, well then I guess I deserve this money. The people that are like, oh, fair play, good job, finally someone caught me, I kind of feel bad for, because they're like actually grinding.
Yeah, right.
It's so funny because like we talk to so many different people, and I always love when I click on somebody's profile, and it's actually funny. So I click on your profile, and I have you on my enemies list listed as buy mugger.
I'm not surprised at all, dude. And it's like a lot of people will really hate me, and then they like really get to know me, and they're like, okay, I kind of feel bad about that.
I don't disrespect the hustle. Like we've talked about it in other episodes. Like that's a way to make money. Like if you are strong and you can catch people out of hospital. I've changed my stance on it a lot. Like back, like when I was younger, obviously I was like, that's stupid. But I've learned now, and we've talked about it. Like if you can't protect yourself while you're selling something, then if I don't buy mug you, somebody else will. Like
Yeah,
somebody's always watching.
that was exactly my mindset on why I got over that, like, buy muggers are scum, even though I say it all the time. Like, buy muggers are like literally doing the job, but the reason I wanted to be so good at it was I was tired of our rivals, our enemies just making free money from it.
Yep.
So it was a race to
Somebody's
every
gonna do it.
target. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely felt the same way for a time too. But I've just kind of come to grips with like that's part of the game, and like that's all there is to it. Like I think you should protect yourself as best as you can. Like as say the felon has Lieutenant Jelloman here on his enemies list for good reason. See, I've never had to worry about this guy because I've been in JFA and natural selection pretty much the entirety of this account. So I haven't had to worry about Lieutenant Jelloman coming after me. But I'm sure if I was in a different faction, I would definitely have him on my enemies as well, just to make it so he has to have another step if he's going to buy from my bazaar or something like that. Because yeah, being in a faction with you, it's pretty common that you'll paste your mugs in the faction chat, and I'm just like, what the hell? What the fuck? It's just like
It's
left
on.
and right.
Oh yeah, dude. When they first changed the mugging percents, because also I don't know if you guys know this, back before I want to say November 2019, it was a set amount, and it was like, I want to say like 10 million on hand, you would get 20%. 100 million on hand, you would get like 10%. 200 mil would be like 5%. 400 mil, I want to say, is like 4% or something, and it just kept going down. And at 2 billion, you would get 2%. So anything over 2 billion mugged, whether it's 200 billion or 50 billion, you would get 2% of whatever they had on hand. And it really kind of sucked. So now it's like the lowest with the mugging merits is like 7.5%, and I used to cry because it was like still like 90% of my mugs were like 7.7%.
I mean, it's
Plunder.
a lot more now, right?
Oh yeah, it's like with Plunder, I think I've had some 13% mugs, which is pretty sick.
Wow. And back they didn't have, even when they first made the mugging change, they didn't have the like if you got mugged, like your money was safe. Like the old money on you was safe until like 12 hours, right? I think that was a fairly new change.
Okay, so way back when I first started mugging, you would be able to revive people and just keep mugging them.
Yeah,
but
it would just kept going.
yeah, like that was also a lot of fun back then. But there was also a critical chance of failure and a critical chance of success. And the critical chance of failure, you just rolled them over and they had no money. So that
Mhm.
always sucked. But then, yeah, like that was brutal. That made a lot of people quit the game, which is why they added the mug protection to stop that, because
Yeah.
people would wake up in the morning and have nothing left.
Mhm.
That's brutal.
But before the change, they also had mug protection where like if I asked someone in our faction to mug me for however much money, like let's say I put like 10 billion on hand, they mug me, I'm like safe from getting mugged for like 12 hours for up to like 800 mil on hand or something.
Yeah.
And that was stupid. That was, you know, like I'm glad that's gone, but now it's still kind of in the game, but it's not as serious. Like
Mhm.
it's more fair.
Yeah.
Well,
So
I
it
am
looks
happy
like
that
your
they.
your
You go.
biggest mug is like $2 billion.
Yeah, that was recently
I
on
thought that
someone
was
that was
recent.
on my
Yeah.
limbs team. Yeah, oh, God, he joked with me after about it too, and I feel bad. A lot of people like, especially in a limbs, they'll like start posting all my mugs on them, and I'm like, oops. Some people when they join NS, the first thing they go do is search their name in the Discord and find my mugs on them. It's always a feels bad.
Oh my god. Yeah, as I said, I've never experienced it. I've always been safe from NS, marked safe today from NS muggers.
I mean, a lot of people do join NS just for the mug protection. It's kind of it's it's funny, but like the other factions, they do have good muggers. You know, it's just like they're not as well known. You know,
Mhm.
they try to fly under the radar. Like, there's so many different types of mugging too. Like for me, I mostly only did buy mugging, and then I got into like the gamblers, where I would go mug gamblers all the time.
Mhm.
I would love to talk about it, but I also don't want to teach the gamblers how I find them. You know.
That's true. That could cost you
Yeah.
billions right there.
Yeah, it's like I actually add the gamblers to my friends list to know when they're online. So,
That's
That's
fun.
smart.
yeah, it's because the friends list is higher up, you know? So like if
Right,
you're just
yeah.
randomly on Torn, you'll see your friends list before you see your enemies list.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
actually would do the exact same thing when I kind of want some to know when somebody's online. It's not often that happens because I'm not really a mugger, but it is easier to that is a good tip right there. Because yeah, it's like because you don't need to scroll down at least on mine to see the friends, but yeah, the friends is like on the same page, so kind of works out a little more easily.
There's RR mugging, there's the trade mugging, which I'm personally not a fan of. I think it's like not as competitive, you know, because my whole idea is it's free game. Anyone could be mugging this target, but when you do a trade mug, it's, you know, you just click accept and then just, you know, it just feels weird.
Isn't it
And
also so? Is it not just because I know cancel mugging isn't
it's
allowed
not
for
allowed.
natural selection
Yeah.
members, um, but so you can do the trade though and then mug them. That's allowed for
Yeah,
us.
it would be considered still a buy mug,
Gotcha.
like
Okay,
buying from their bazaar, but buying from a trade. I just don't like it because it's, you know,
it is
as I said,
dirtier.
it's
Yeah,
not competitive.
yeah, that makes sense. So that means
Uh,
everyone you can do trades with him and you're safe. But don't come
yeah,
crying to me if you get mugged. I mean, I don't know.
I have done a few of them, but it's usually if they like are demanding a price when I made a fair price, you know, or they just annoyed me, something like that.
There you go. Okay.
But yeah, like mugging is a great source of income, especially because it's like you don't need money to make money, you just need stats. And to be honest, I've seen a lot of people at very young ages and young stats, like they have been a killer mugger, and I assume it's just they spend a lot of time to, you know, find targets. Because it like that's the hardest part is actually finding someone worth mugging. And like nowadays
Mhm.
I'm not as invested in Torn to be sitting on Torn all day. Like I would say like 2 years ago, I saw I was like number 30 something in the top 100, top 200 most active players. And then since then, I've been trying to take somewhat of a break.
There you go.
Yeah, I think it was
You're
like
like, oh shit, I'm one of
over.
the biggest losers on this game.
It's like that hits you a little bit. Like it was like at the end of COVID, and it's like maybe I shouldn't be on Torn like 8 hours a day, you know? But
This
also, it's like
podcast is
I'm also like on my computer all day most of the time anyway, doing something else. So it's like Torn's always on my second monitor, and I think it just records me being on Torn all day, you know?
True. Yeah.
True.
I have no idea how it actually works.
Yeah, supposedly it's like making a bunch of actions. So I assume if I'm like idle 5 minutes and then I click again, it's like, oh, you were on Torn the entire 5 minutes.
Huh.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That
this
can be sweet.
podcast has definitely increased my activity on this game for sure.
Well,
Sometimes
you
I'm
just
like, oh
get
shit.
slightly more and more invested, right? Like you like Torn is a lot of little things, right? So like if you're a mugger, it's like if you just sit on Torn and mug all day, it's not going to be super exciting. And then you get that social aspect, and then you have wars, and then you have the forums, and then like if you're into stocks, like stocks takes a lot of time too. Like I did pretty poorly this last week in stocks, but I think I came out like almost even, like maybe up like 0.4% after some bad losses. And then today I woke up, I'm up 1%, and I think I'm up another 0.8% right now in one day. So I got lucky there.
Nice.
Um, yeah, I want to talk about a lot too. So like if I had to restart Torn, I think obviously your only real option is flying. Like I don't know how anyone can be competitive in Torn without putting money into it or getting someone to pay for your stuff, you know?
Yeah, I chose option A. Spend real money.
Yeah, I've never spent money, and like I have a decent amount. I got like 6 or 7 of my like real life friends to play the game now, and so like I'll just fund them all the time now. But it's like some days I'm just like, okay, you're kind of asking a lot from me, you know? You realize how much money you're asking right now?
Hey, could I get like just 3 bill?
Yeah, it's just like, oh yeah.
Only.
Oh, actually, I think the worst was I paid for he was like under stat cap, and he got the 99K happiness book, you know?
Yeah.
I fed him all the FHCs he needed, just no questions asked. I was like, here you go. And then he's like now super into the game, and he's about to hit like 2 billion in like I want to say like 2 years.
Oh, that's cool. No, that
Did
actually
I say
reminds
I
me.
did I
You go
say I had
first.
you on my enemies list? I meant I had you on my friends list.
Oh,
That's what I meant to say.
oh, of course, of course.
I remember way back when I recently restarted this restarted Torrent because obviously I lost my old account. But so before like I basically got a better job and was able to afford spending money on a hobby which is Torn. Um I what's it called? I got the book for I got Ugly Energy, and I don't know what my net worth was in game, but it wasn't enough really to get the 124 FHCs needed for the month, and I didn't have the real life money to get it that way either. So he quit, but one of the players in JFA 2.0 gave me like I think 80 of it, and then I was able to swing the other last bit of it. But that was really cool. So it's kind of nice to see I'm not the only one that was gifted in that way. And I never forgot that. That was just like such a nice guy to do that for me. Because yeah, I mean, I was working in a grocery store. I didn't have money for fucking donator packs for an online game. Um, but he made it happen, and I think that's one of the big things that really gave me a good push in the beginning of the game to get my stats to where they are now.
Yeah, it's like I quit for some amount of years. I used to be a co-leader of a faction. They went and sold the faction. It was like a top 20 back in like 2012, I think. And then I went to TUS because I had a friend insane in TUS. And he was the leader at the time. And then he quit because he was going to college. And then I got booted when I was starting college because I wasn't active enough. And then I just decided to take a break and I put all my money in the Caymans and I came back with like 36 billion, I think, in total.
Shit.
And I didn't even know what I was doing either. That was like the worst part. If I like actually invested in correct stocks, I would have probably been, closer to like 60 or 80, I think.
Damn.
Also, like one of the last messages I sent him right before he quit was, I think I have enough money to buy an oil rig, and I really wish I did it back in 2012 because back then it was a lot easier.
Way less
Uh,
competition.
Yeah, it's a lot less competition, and then they removed it because of, I don't know if you guys know who Goldenfield is, but he supposedly had a bunch of multis. He had a TV empire, I want to say like 10 TV stations that were all
Oh my
filled with
god.
inactive accounts.
Wow.
Because back in the day, you used to be able to keep employees at 50% of their working stats past 5 days, and it would be like that forever. So they would
Oh,
have like people working their company for free with like 50% of their working stats.
yeah, that's worth it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then like yeah, it's like you could never have to do anything for your company again as long as you don't care about, gaining stars. But also back then they only went to 5 stars, I think.
Yeah, that'd make my oil rig a much it's already pretty easy. And actually that's it's cool to have you on the show talking about money because it's like we're sort of talking about companies in the beginning at first. And I mean, you gave me some like for my oil rig some key tips that I think is why it's doing so well. Like I
Uh,
almost don't want to say exactly what they are because I know there's oil rigs not doing it around mine and I want to be better than
mhm.
them. But like
Mhm.
the pricing, I had it all wrong. I think that was huge. So you told me that.
You
Um,
learned about the ad budget not needing to be as high as, people
TVs,
assume.
yeah,
Yeah.
that made
Also, like,
huge difference.
I always hate when people are like, I can't hire anyone in the game for less than 3 million a day. I think it's like a bullshit excuse because I feel like, I put maybe 40 minutes to an hour in and I could find more than one employee for that price.
Yeah, and that's another thing. You kind of pretty much convinced me to finally stop overpaying because like I've run companies before, but I don't think I was ever like a super bad overpayer, but I definitely
No,
did
it's
overpay.
you were paying what would be like considered a fair wage, but it's because everyone has this mindset that they're worth more than they are.
Mhm.
And it's like the problem is a lot of people get stuck on I need these working stat requirements, and you can't really find that, right? Like most players aren't going to have 300k intel or whatever, but you work with what you have and you realize that it's more your goal should be making profit, not going for stars. Because if you're going to go hunt for stars and go all the way up to 10 stars, you don't really gain a lot. Like I know a lot of people love the extra specials, but stars come with time. Like if you're successful, you will gain them.
Right. And I see people doing like the most wild things because as I said, like my company's profiting extremely well. Like my profits are way higher than what I'm paying in wages. And that's how it should be. And I'm still paying everybody like a fair wage. It's not like I'm giving them shit. It's a fair wage. It's just like people think they're owed 3 million a year for I mean 3 million a day for 100K total working stats. It's bullshit. It's
It
crazy.
Yeah.
is. And
And
it's like a lot of people forget you're the one that had to invest a lot of money in that company.
Mhm.
Like
yeah, I've invested like
it's
16
not
bill.
cheap. Yep.
And
Not
basically
not a lot of people, and that's another thing too. A lot of people when they go hunt for stars, they go and instantly upgrade it to max and like, okay, I can't get 10 stars. I've invested like 30 billion in this oil rig. I need to sell. And then you realize how many people in the game have 30 billion to buy a company that
Yep.
aren't already running a company.
Mhm.
um and
Yeah.
yeah, because I'll see people like companies that are making 280K a day, as in like that's the revenue in the day, and they're offering positions for like this guy was literally offering like for a spot for 2 million bucks, and this company was making 280K a day. What is that? It's just like, dude, like I just don't know where your priorities are. I get you're trying to start it up, but like if you just really put in the effort, you could find employees for a reasonable price. It's just like when I got this oil rig, I remember I pinged the Discord. I think I've got 2 employees in there right now that came from knowing the podcast. But everybody else, I had to grind hard to get all them. I had mailed like if you look at my if you look at how old the rig is and then you look at how many mails I've sent, you're going to see a spike of when I bought the oil rig because I mailed probably like 2,000 people, to get 15 employees.
Yeah,
It's just what
it's
you got to do.
I liked everyone calls me lucky because like I'll go and I'll like start hiring for some of my proxies when they're busy because I try not to because then it's like why am I sharing 50% of the income? Like I want to
Mhm.
actually see them do something, and if they're like, okay, I'm busy, I can't do it today, then I'll help if I have free time. Um I chat people, and it's like I think the fastest employee I got was like 4 minutes.
Wow.
That was pretty quick.
Yeah,
If you
it's
just
like
put in the effort.
yeah, it's I have my own like copy pasta. I just say, hey, any chance are you looking for a job? Because it usually sparks conversation. And what most people want in Torn is some social interaction. And then they
Mhm.
start asking those questions, you answer their questions, and then they're like, okay, you seem like a good guy. I'll work for you, you know? And it's my mindset is they get a bunch of these, you know? They probably have like, you know, what, 20 people message them asking for this job. And if you stay green, they're gonna respond to you first.
Right. Uh, Another point that activity really does make a big difference for some
Yep.
things in this game.
And then the worst thing that used to happen to me was I used to hire from my friends and then they wouldn't be around and so I'd have them apply and then someone else would snipe them and it's like, well, I can't help you hire if you're not around either because they'll have someone else message them and offering the same thing or better and then they'll take them.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. Because whenever I wake up to, I see an event, but then I see like a one next to like the job icon, so I know it's an application. I just go right to look at the application, and every single time, yeah, there it's gone because I wasn't online when they applied.
Mhm.
Yep.
It's
Yeah, it's
it really is
competitive.
a competitive.
I want to take a quick step back and I want to talk about like I think the goal for most Torn players should be you find a way to afford your 3 Xanax, 1 refill a day. I don't really think there's anything else a lot of players should use if they want to be competitive, you know?
Yeah.
Um, a lot of people get stuck in this mindset that they need to drink boosters to get ahead of the curve, but that doesn't really get you ahead of the curve if you know what I mean. Like even 4 FHCs is like 600 energy a day, but like the maximum energy you could do a day with 3 Xanax, natural E, and refill is like 1640, I think. 1640 or 1620.
Mhm.
So it's like a lot of people are like, "Oh, I can afford 4 FHCs a day." And it's like, "Okay, well that's 60 million." And it's like that 60 million in my opinion should be just stocking up until you can afford more. And there's a lot of like different ways to make money. So I think like not including my companies, my passive income a day is about 20 million just from stock benefits, PA team, crime, stuff like that, you know?
Mhm.
And you get that, then you go maybe buy a company, make an extra 20 million a day. Now you're making like 40 million a day. And it's like, it takes how long to get all of your stats to SE range? Like, I think SE range is now 3 billion.
Mhm. Yeah, with the
So in
cap.
that time, these people, the meta of the game should be you just stock up money until you reach SE point, and then if you're at a good amount of money, then you use SEs, and you should only use SEs as you can afford them. Um, I know not everyone does this, and it's totally fine because again, Torn is a game you can play however you want. But I mean, I'm trying to do it, and I think my goals right now are like the end of this year, I want to hit 10 billion, which shouldn't cost me too much. I think it's going to cost me like another 20 billion worth of SEs. But my long-term goal, I want to get 20 billion strength, 20 billion speed, and 100 billion defense, and that's going to cost me like 314 billion to do.
Which you could do right now.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
technically could do that right now, but then it's like I'm going to be grinding for money again, you know? And it's
Yeah.
like I just my other goal is I want to get to 500 bill net worth next year, and I'm technically almost there. I think if I like had all my proxies sell their companies, give me back the money and stuff like that, I'd be at like 430 maybe, 420. And it's like I don't know, like I also want to, you know, get my stats up higher so that I'm more effective because supposedly we may be having this NS versus Monarch war at some point.
I hope so.
And
Mhm.
when I definitely hope so too. I've been training for years for it, but it's gonna, you know, affect my money income and
Mhm.
also my stat gains.
Right. I was at what's it called? I was asking Stretch about using a book. He was like, I don't know, man. There might be a big war coming. So it's like, oh shit. That's right.
Yeah.
So it's like, Monarch, can you let us know? I'm just trying to schedule a book in. So if you could just
Yeah.
let me know, thanks.
Just the ballpark.
Ballpark or exact
Um,
time.
yeah, so I think like for most of the good passive incomes, with stocks, any stock that is over like 20% ROI is really good, and you should own. And I think it costs about 15 billion currently for all of that. And then once you have that, you're good. You have your bank investment, that's another 2 billion, so like 17 billion. I don't know what else you need to put money into for passive, but if you build up from there, I think like I think most players should aim for at least 50 billion. I feel like it's not too unreasonable for people to make it that far. And if your faction also runs a stock fund, which not a lot of them do, but you could also use plenty of people in the game to go and put your money into if you don't want to do stocks. But I think it is better for all players to try to learn how to do stock market trading because again, it's the end game solution.
Right.
There's not many other ways you can afford that 1.8 billion worth of SPs a day.
Yeah, I think isn't I've heard one of the ways Ralakul Kiss is I don't know how to pronounce it, but I've heard her
Luca, I don't
plan
know.
is to get 7 trillion in Caymans and just eat off seas
No
off
way.
of that. Yeah.
Oh, that
Apparently
would
that's
make
the
me
goal.
so angry.
I know, right?
Caymans is one of the worst things to do, but
If you got 7 trillion, then I guess
I guess
it's
it
all
makes
right.
sense. But you could just grind into that. Like, I mean, like let's say he can do that, right? He had to have done that through just trading money in stocks, and like you're gonna get way better gains than that. I think Caymans, even in a 10-star oil rig, is like 8% a year.
Oof. Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Shit.
Yeah, it's 6% a year on average, and I think like with the faction perks and oil rig perk, it might go to 8, and it's just I don't know why anyone would use the Cayman.
They are not the ones to tell me that, so like maybe it's not true, but it's I think they're over like 3 trillion net worth, so it very well could be true.
Are they already over
Insane.
3 trillion? That's scary.
Yeah, that much money just kind of makes my like brain kind of not work. Oh, okay, no, it's almost 1.9 trillion. But I mean, even
That's
that though, I
still
mean, that's way
crazy.
more money than I'll ever have in this game.
Yeah, I can't like what was it? My goal in 2019 was getting to 100 billion, and then I made it to 200 billion, and I'm like, okay, I never saw myself getting this far, and it's like I'm now at the point where I think if I had 500 billion for like a stock fund, I could maybe do, 4 SEs a day, but it's just so much work and so much to think about.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
that's constantly watching stocks, right? Like
yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
like
assuming if you're a stock trader, like you've like studied the market to figure out like the best entries and exits and all that.
You got to put a lot of time into it, and it's like it's very much discipline is a great way to put it. Someone else in NS is like, I've gone to him a lot, and I've like listened to a lot of the things he said. He's given me a lot of like great information, which has helped me. But it's so hard to sit there and wait until that moment where you think it's right, especially because I think it's all RNG.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Ched did anything with IRL stuff. I think it's a lie. I think he mimicked it where he recorded the information from IRL stocks and then simulated it, and all we have is a stock market simulator.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I would probably agree with you because I think the amount of people that play this game, and not even the amount of people that play this game, but the amount of like ridiculously smart people that play this game, if each stock was based off of one stock or one segment, somebody would have found it by now.
Like we put a lot of time and brain effort into it, and the assumption is it's probably based off of multiple stock exchanges, and I still don't know. I don't know how to feel about it.
Yeah.
Especially since I don't know how much you guys followed it, but like Stocks 3.0 was very easy to make money. I think my peak in Stocks 3.0 the first like 3 months was like 63 billion profit. And at the time I only had like 80 to like 100 billion to invest,
Jesus.
And then in August, it was very clear to me that every stock went straight down.
Mm-hmm.
It was like 5 or 6 different stocks all went straight down, like August 25th or something, like July 25th to August 10th. And everyone was mad. There was multiple threads saying, okay, you manipulated the stocks. And I'm pretty sure Ched said, yeah, he had to make a change because it was too easy for people to make money.
Yep.
And so he changed the volatility where it's like they move too fast. You could see a stock easily move up 1 to 2% a day, and it would bounce around that all day. So it was very easy for someone who's active and sitting on Torn all day to reach a sell point or make up the money that they lost. But now it's a lot slower, where it kind of follows a trend for a few days, and then it'll follow a trend and go up for a few days, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Like Munster right now, I don't know if you guys follow it too hard, but I think 9 trillion got added today.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
That's
at 8.8 trillion today in the last 24 hours. On October 9th, which is like 3 days ago from whenever we're recording, there was 13 trillion in it, and right now there's 25 trillion. So in 3 days, 12 trillion has been added to the stock, and today it was 8.8.
Huh.
and I know there's a lot of like stock bots that will like tell people that, but that basically means that there is some big level players that see this as an entry point, at least in the last 24 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like, it always scares me when a lot of money goes into a stock really fast, because
Mm-hmm.
you know, like some people say it's me being an idiot, but I think market cap does have something to do with stocks.
Mm-hmm.
No way to prove it, but I just assume Ched would put in a fail safe where it's
Yep.
not going to go up 10% if 10 trillion was added into a stock in like one day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because if we're getting those notifications that 9 trillion just went into it, we all know damn well that Ched also knows that 9 trillion just went into that stock.
I don't think he puts the time in to follow that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't think the market economist, whatever guy either, like I think it's just he put in a failsafe into the RNG code that where there's some math equation where it'll go down or the price will try to balance it out to what it was X amount of days ago.
Yeah, makes sense. I mean, he can't make it just continually go up, even though these stocks, he did say that
They all go up 10%.
I would say every year, right? On average, every year it
So-
should go up.
So if you actually look at the TCSE, which is the Torn City Stock Exchange, it does just go straight up. No lie. Okay, so that's what he meant. He lied to everyone. It's not every stock goes up 10% a year. The total stock market value is going up 10% a year, but most of the stocks that go up, no one invests in. Like what was one of the first ones? IST was like, where is it? I'm trying to find it on this chart. IST is at 476 right now, and it started at what even is this price? 300.
Yep.
So that's
yeah, I'm looking at the chart,
$129
yeah.
added to the Torn City Stock Exchange value.
Which we talked about it last episode. That is the like unless you can read that stock to make money, it's the stupidest stock to own because it costs you $47 million to offset $260,000 in total costs. So the
Yep.
benefit is useless.
I mean, Sim too. I mean, like, or not Sim, FHG. I don't know if you guys remember this in the old stocks when I just was getting back into Torn. FHG hit like 250. Now it's at what, like 750?
Yeah. Yeah, it's
But-
insane. It's almost 1.5 billion now for the benefit.
For the block when I bought it for like 500 mil back then.
Yeah, I sold off a lot when stock 3.0 came out, and got the stocks were up an incredible amount during that flip over. So that was a nice easy I mean, I've even seen, and I don't follow the stock market like intently, but I know like Yaz down at like the banner advertisement, like that was like it was almost you never saw it above $40. Like that was like the max. Like you could trade from like 39 to 40 like all the time, and now it's like continually over 40. It's now at almost 42. Like you didn't see that before.
Yeah, I mean, I just know that they all kind of go up, and I'm assuming it's just trying to hide stuff. Like I think a lot of the stocks are going down recently because they're about to add 3 new stocks to the game, supposedly.
Yeah.
And so that'll raise the Torn City Stock Exchange really fast. So they were trying to fix that by having some stocks go down.
Mhm.
Hey, that's actually a perfect time to announce that one of the new stocks being added is for Torn Underground. Isn't that crazy?
Oh, dude, that would be sick.
Yeah,
You're
we're
gonna
that
get
big.
you're gonna get
Bonus.
dividend payouts, you know?
Yeah, me and AiR each get 0.1% of all money invested in the stock.
Oh, that would be sick.
That
Count
would
me
be-
in.
I'm selling the podcast for what's your net worth, Lieutenant Jelloman?
In like 340 something billion at the moment.
Seems reasonable.
Yeah,
easy price.
I can do that. I can do that.
Mm-hmm.
He's not getting
That's
shit.
insane.
I'm gonna take it and run.
Yeah, I know. I don't run this thing.
Yeah, we
I
do
mean, we
spot
could all
the
talk
ads.
about scamming. I've never scammed anyone. I've been scammed once a very long time ago.
What was
Which
that
the
for?
person that scammed me, I ended up getting vetted for it, so didn't get my
Wow.
money back. But
Was
back
that
in
when
the
it
day,
was
when
illegal? Because it
yeah,
was illegal
did.
before.
No, it wasn't even the way they did the scamming was more illegal.
Mm.
Gotcha.
But yeah, like lost like I want to say 2 billion back then, and then traded it back up because my friends let me borrow money to go do it again.
Oh,
It's also
well,
why I got into mugging.
that works. How much
Yeah,
have you
but we
mugged
could-
at this point?
I think I'm like 8th in torn
170,
right now.
I think it said. I think when I checked your stats.
I think it's 137.
That was one.
That's disgusting. Filthy mugger.
Yeah, 134.6. Yeah. Jesus.
Yeah, and I think I'm rated or rank 8 right now in torn for that.
Wow, I almost wouldn't be surprised if it was more like 3 or 2.
I mean, number 1 is Pops, and good guy. I don't know, like there was one day he mugged like 80 billion, and it was kind of insane.
And that's why
Jesus.
the flying what's it called, like grace period came to be, right?
Yep, to go and nerf him, and he's also the reason they had to add the one action per second.
That's crazy. I can't imagine
he was
being
doing,
the
like-
reason behind that.
He was
Mhm.
doing like 8 or 9 actions a second, so it was kind of intense.
Oh my
Jesus.
god. That's like Blitzkrieg. You have no time to do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was I don't know. My best was like 3 actions per second, but supposedly he's from the UK where the ping would be so low that he can do that. Well, like my ping to a UK server is like 230 or something.
Gotcha. What was that over? Because I remember everybody was like taking their money out of Caymans. Was that when
Stocks
new stocks
3.0.
came out? Gotcha.
Yeah, so everyone went to fly to Caymans to take their money out of the Caymans to go invest.
And he just
And
had
in
a
the
field
same
day.
day, they went and removed being able to buy stocks while in air.
Yep. Yep,
Oh
I remember
my
that.
God.
Yeah, that was brutal.
And he made
Yep.
80 bill in a day.
Yeah,
basically?
like 70
Oh my
something like
God.
that, yeah.
That's ridiculous. As someone that has done a lot of DP purchases, I'm telling that's like 15 grand basically around
Mhm.
that.
Well, even more.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
What the hell? 15 grand in torn currency, but USD currency.
Pops
Yeah,
right now is at
not RMT.
507. 507 billion he has mugged.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's not even
That's-
fair. Like, I remember back when I was doing those 8 hours a day, it was like he made it to every target before me. And if I ever beat him to one, he'd message me and say, shit, I had to take a can.
And I always keep telling myself like, I'm gonna really try to because I've had like small points of like trying to become a mugger, but like it would only last like a day, and I'm just like, yeah, I suck at this. Whatever. I'm not gonna keep doing this. I'm just bad at it. And I keep telling myself I'm gonna really like make a actual true attempt into becoming a mugger once I get my stats up. But it's just like I feel like it's just like it feels like it's like never enough. I mean, maybe once I actually get my dexterity up, I'll be like, now I'm ready. But then I'll probably be like, no, I need more speed. And then when I get my
Yeah.
speed up,
But-
it'll be something else.
But that doesn't make any sense because I don't know your stats, but I'm assuming you're not top 100, Lieutenant?
No, I'm not. I'm like, I think 700 something.
So,
I'm at
So I
like
have no
2.1
excuse. I
billion.
get it.
yeah, you have no excuse. He's way less than you,
I
and
get
he's
it.
not way
He is
less,
better
but like
balanced,
he's
though.
less.
Yeah, I'm
But
almost
so
at my second stat at SE range again. I hit it and then used a bunch of SEs and then the gym changes happen.
So let me ask you something about your mug, and we're not going to go over your tactics because it's a business that you have built up. So I'm not doing that. But do you find you get more money mugged off of like experienced players, or are you looking for newer players that just don't know?
It's definitely the newer players because they don't know what they're
Yeah.
doing.
So all
Buy
right, you
mugging,
can
like
fight them.
everyone knows about buy mugging now. So like, like supposedly I'm the big boogeyman in new players chat or something, so everyone knows to blacklist me anyway. I don't really buy mug as much anymore just because I expect everyone to have me blacklisted and I'm not going to beat other people that are waiting on Torn all day for it.
Hmm.
Like most of my mugging now is on gamblers, other people telling me who to mug, like because of who I am. Everyone knows I'm a mugger, so they'll message me if they see something, and I'm more than happy to give them 50% of the mug if it's over like 4 million.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean like when I started mugging, I was maybe like 2 billion stats. I was still like kind of ahead of the curve, but
Yep.
like the way I also started mugging was my mentality was every time I use 25 energy, I have to buy a can. Successful or not, like
Yep.
I'm either going to lose 1.3 million or I'm going to profit.
Huh,
It's a good way to
making the
look at
stakes
it.
a little
Like,
higher.
Yeah. And it's like because you don't want to be that guy that uses all your energy to mug and you fall behind. It's the only way to keep up.
hmm
Okay, so you've still been basically training, the 3 Xanax refill, natural E, um, and you mug with cans basically, so that you still stay ahead that way,
When I
gaining
when I
stats.
got my first stat to SE range was the first time where I kind of didn't care about what my booster cooldown was and like any energy before the gym changes it again because the price changed, but like my E was worth like 1.4 mil, so anything over that is better than training.
Right. That I do like looking at that because for this my strength it's gotten to the point that it's like as long as I make like at least like 98K from 25E, it's worth it.
Well, now it's changed too because with the new gym changes, I think the lowest you should use 25E to make money is 700K, and that's at like 1 trillion.
Okay. Damn.
I think now
So
it's like anything over 1.3 is good.
for like mugging or like money
More
making
than
from
that, even
25E.
bounties or like ranked warring, like, it's better. Like you would get more from SEs than training.
Yeah. Until eventually, I wonder what the number is for because of the there's a stat cap on SEs,
SEs.
but
Yep.
there's no stat cap for training, gym training. So there's
I think it's around 2.3 quadrillion.
yeah, I
that's
think we talked
crazy.
about that one episode. Yeah.
I want to
Yeah,
get
I think it
there.
was Andy Man that said it. It's like 2.3, it's better to use cans than SEs or something.
That's disgusting.
It goes backwards. It's hilarious.
So
Yeah, to all those players that are going to be able to do that, that's going to suck trying to catch up to them.
Hmm.
I don't think there is any catching up to them.
Well, no, when I joined NS, when I came back to the game in like 2019, and the second faction I joined was NS after something happened in the old faction with the chain. Just I kind of had the mentality that I could be more than this faction, like I think the chain, I was annoyed that me and my 3 friends did 20% of the chain or something. And I was like, okay, well, if all my friends can do this, then we can move up to an actual HOF faction.
Right.
Um, when I joined NS and I saw the first top 100 battle stats, it was like you could be 8 billion and be in it. And now it's like I'm at 8.2, 8.3, I think, and it's like I'm still 700 away.
Yeah. The new point of entry is like what, like 24 bill or something like that.
Can't imagine.
Because like even when I got my strength up to 20 bill, I was still not top 100. It's not like I have no other stats. So I was at like almost 24 bill, and I wasn't even top 100 yet. I was like, what the hell? This is
Yeah, I
crazy.
think if I zeroed my account right now and I put it all in defense, I think I'd be like 3 trillion.
Oh, that's
Wow.
intense.
Yeah, I've now played with numbers too much. It's like I started having a lot of fun using Google spreadsheets for Torn, like Torn math, and then now this semester I have a bunch of math courses, and I'm just now using Google Sheets for all of my like math work.
Oh, have you
I
ever?
feel like a
Because
nerd.
what's dangerous for me is the investment calculator because you can basically use it as an SE calculator, and that's
Yep.
dangerous because I'll put in like what my strength is, and it's like okay, I just need 15 more dumbbells, and it'll be this, and it's just like uh, it's just it. I kind of like almost single handedly um credit the investment calculator for getting my strength to where it is because it just I don't know. There's something about it being able to see exactly what you'll get it to with that many dumbbells. It's just like shit. I gotta do it.
Yeah, I do. I do the same thing. I go and I see how much money it'll cost me to reach my goals, and
Yeah. So I'm basically saying this as a warning. Like don't check this out. Don't do it.
Be addicted.
well, I mean,
Exactly.
a lot of people go and say it's really addicting to go like if you whore one stat, you go and you put your defense up to like 100 billion. It's really hard to go back to like strength and start at
Hmm.
2 billion and get it to like 20 billion because the gains for the money are so much smaller.
Right. I think I'm doing a good job with that. I've just completely switched my mindset. I've basically like I think before like I would call it like I fixated on strength, and I mean that's kind of what it takes to get something to 30 bill. And now I think I've completely reversed my fixation to dexterity. So obviously it's 1.5 bill, so I can't. It'd be stupid to see it. So I'm basically just gonna save up a little bit until then.
I wouldn't
And
say it's
do what I gotta
stupid.
do.
It's okay, so it's not stupid. A lot of people have said that like the range to start using SEs is like 300 mil, but like you just gotta have like mad money to do that, like
Yeah, I don't think I have
or
the money.
like I remember crying about some of my stock losses where it's all like losing 8 billion is like 4 months worth of my like passive income from all my companies, like I can't imagine going and spending what is it? It's like 40 something billion to double a stat, and then you got to do that 5 times just to get it from 300 mil to like 5 billion or something.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
ridiculous.
crazy. Because like my thinking was to try to make up for SCing strength a little bit too early. And I basically really started it at 2 bill. Um, I want to get dexterity to 4 bill before I SC it, so I get a little bit more bang for my buck on it this time.
Yeah.
Be a little more
Uh,
patient.
I did the same thing. I started SEing my strength at 1.63, I think, and I got it to like 3 billion. But what I did was that I actually calculated like all my profit on mugs. So I went really hard on this. It was exciting to use my first SEs. It's like the first I actually got hit by Bot Hunter the first day because I went from a training book where all I did was log in like 4 times a day, use my booster, and then log out. And then the first day back, I like was mugging everything that moved, and then like was putting together the money, calculating every time I hit like mugged 500 mil profit, I would use an SE, and I ended up using like 3 SEs in the first 2 days, and then Bot Hunter hit me, and that's the only time I've ever been hit.
I wish I could mug 3 SEs in 2 days worth of money.
It's like there's a lot of things to it, man. Like a lot of people learn. I'm always very happy to teach a lot of people. Like I don't know how much you guys read the mugging achievement threads, but I get mentioned a lot, which is always like very, nice to hear that
Hmm.
people look up to me in that way. But I know a lot of people in NS. I've given them a lot of information and they've all become successful. Like I don't want to say his name because I don't want to embarrass him, but I remember someone in NS2 a long time ago, he like messaged me and he was like, "Okay, so how the fuck do you mug?" And I'm like, "Oh, like I find someone's bizarre, I see something nice, and then I just go and get a discount." And I think his first 2 or 3 weeks, I don't think he profited. I think he only lost money. He like every mug he did was not successful. Whether it was someone in a clothing store he got banked on, someone else sniped the mug, something like that. And then he ended up, like he's now someone that is very high up there. I don't know if he'd give me credit for teaching him, but I know he came to me first.
Hey, at least my buy mug on an ad customer, it was successful technically.
Yeah, not successful for the business, but
No, it was
It's
terrible for the business.
it's one of those things like when you get in the habit, it just gets easier and easier and easier, and then when you kind of know what you're looking for, like one of the easiest things to mug is like a stat enhancer, right? Because they have huge demand. All of them but skateboards are worth like 440, so it's really hard to lose money there. And even if you lose some money, you're not losing too much. Xanax is
Yeah,
another one where like they sell for whatever pretty easily. Like I mean that's basically how I started. I would go check drugs, Xanax, check donator packs because I could even sell the donator packs to the pawn shop if I'm being lazy and don't want to sell. And then SEs and like that's all I would watch and you know
yeah, the
it's sorry it's easy to see it when like you notice someone new adds something, you go and check and see if they're even in hospital. They're not in hospital, you go empty your vault, you go open the bazaar, you go click, you know, fill item, and then you just instantly an attack. But now, I mean, I should also talk about this. The delay in mugging is ass. It's really bad. Like they, I don't think they did it on purpose, but like I used to be able to do a mug in like 4 seconds, like buy and mug, and like that was average. You know, like the fastest I could do is maybe 2 seconds, and now it takes me 3 seconds just to start the fight.
Jeez.
And then there's another 3 second delay on clicking mug. So they have like, you know, 7 seconds to bank on me all the time, and it's really frustrating. It's one of the reasons I don't buy mug as much.
so it's gotten tougher.
I wouldn't call it tougher. It's kind of more just like bullshit. It's like a nerf, an
Gotcha.
unintended nerf. Because from what I heard, the 3% or the 3 second delay on clicking mug is because so many people would be negative on hand that they wanted to get rid of that.
Huh.
Because they bank at the same time. Like I had, what was his name? Irubaya.
Oh yeah.
Right.
I buy mugged him once, and then he copy and pasted his negative like 60 mil on hand because he banked at the same second.
Huh. Well, that sucks to suck, I guess.
Yeah, but you know they go in and their changes now. This 3 second delay when you click mug, you get those three little dots, and you're just sitting there waiting. Sometimes it's 7 seconds, and you're just waiting to see if you get anything or if they banked, and you know it's just an awful feeling.
Yeah, because I do think like I think one thing that also scares me about by mugging too is failing it just kind of makes you look like a jackass. It's like ha ha ha, idiot! You tried to buy
Yeah,
mug me.
Yeah.
I always hate when they talk shit to me too. They're like, oh, I banked on the famous LTJELLOMAN, and it's like it doesn't. It's not my fault, you know. Like there's nothing I can't do anything about lag and torn.
Right.
Oh, one guy once told me, just get a better PC, and I'm like, okay, fuck you, you little shit. And then I've eventually mugged him for 10 million, and I aeoned it too, and I'm gonna probably be reminded now to talk shit to him at some point anonymously.
Well, we got Halloween coming up, which is a good time to attack people, I feel. You know,
Oh
like
yeah. I'm excited, but I'm also scared I'm gonna get sat on because enough people in the game really do hate me.
well, I've actually been getting disliked on the forums a decent bit, so I was like, you know what, this is actually a good opportunity. So everybody that's gave me a dislike, I added to my enemies list for Halloween, and I'm just gonna sit on them for all of Halloween, which is extremely petty. I'm totally aware, but it's whatever, man. I don't want to
Yep,
be
dude.
attacking level ones. I might as well attack these people.
Yeah, I mean it's like I kind of miss chaining in a way. Like no, our faction doesn't do it at all. We're not even having a chain on a mandatory chain, so it's just gonna drop too if we even have one.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. I said it,
I
and
do
like,
miss
don't
it.
worry
Like
about it.
I remember I guessed in NS1 for a Valentine's chain, and I mugged like 2 billion in like 6 hours or something. It's just so nice to, you know, just be able to do whatever.
Oh, you know what I just kind of remembered too? I've because again, like I've barely done any type of buy mugging. That's why it's hilarious that like the one time I did it, I buy mugged an ad customer, and he has not bought another ad. I will say that. um, and because I will try to buy from people's bazaars, not trying to like buy mug them or anything, just like I need something from their bazaar, and I'm blacklisted, and I'll ask them like, "Hey man, like I'm just trying to buy this item, like." I don't know. I've never like mugged you, nothing. Like, I'm not really a mugger. and they're just like, oh yeah, I just have everybody in natural selection blacklisted. I'm like, what the
Yeah,
fuck?
that's usually my fault too.
No, exactly.
That's always funny. I'm gonna guess the name was either Waiter TX or Midnight Trader because yeah, I like Midnight Trader, I think I mugged him for like 4 billion over like 8 times or something, and like I was blacklisted the whole time too, so just getting someone else to buy for me. Waiter TX and CR, he blacklists everyone that joins NS because of me. And I didn't even mug him that much. I think I mugged him now like 3 times for like maybe 500, 600 mil.
Yeah, I think I was actually trying to buy something from him recently, and I was just like, God, I know what this is. Fuck.
Yeah, I mean it's funny, but it sucks. I kind of feel bad for our faction, but you know, most people are all our faction is always happy whenever we mug someone and they're salty about it. So it's like, you know, a badge of honor for us.
Right. Yeah, I don't really care that sometimes don't be able to buy from Bazaar. It's whatever. I think
I,
it's
I
it's just
usually
funny.
just I usually just ask someone else to buy for me, you know, I'll like send them the money and just have someone else buy if I really need it.
Gotcha.
Sure.
So the felon has what's it called? Real life stuff, which I'm not really sure what that is. So if there's anything that you think would be like the most important to basically leave us off on, just to prep you on that. I know like a lot of new players have been wanting to talk about money, and so we're also going to talk to AiR, and I kind of feel like our interview with you is going to be a perfect for like the second part of the episode, and try to get into more of like starting up with her. But yeah, if there's anything that you think is like the most important to know about money in general.
Don't waste it. I mean, every dollar counts. I think what I try to push a lot of people, especially in NS, to do is take the first step towards making it. Like, everyone will always go and say, I can never picture myself being at like 10 bill, 20 billion, 40 billion. Like, I have a friend too that I got to join NS and they only had 4 billion. And now I remember they were surprised when they hit 10 billion and now they're at like 60 billion. You know, it's just like, you just got to make that first step towards saving that dollar. If you only spend it on Xanax and refills, it's only 4 million a day. And I think Bank, FHG, and Sim pay for that itself. It's really just, you know, like when I came back to Torrent and I was trying to trade, I was happy making 5 million a day. Like it's just you got to be in the hustle, you know. You got to do everything you can. Um, Diversifying income is also good because a lot of people believe you just throw all money in stock, wait till the stock goes up and then you profit, but if you get a bad go and you're stuck for a month or two, you make no money and it's pretty difficult. So the best I could say is you just got to start working your way up until you actually start seeing the progress and then make that progress. It only gets better and better from that point on.
Mhm.
So basically, discipline, which is what I lacked.
Um, Discipline is definitely one thing because like discipline to not fuck up, not waste money is a big thing because a lot of people are like, well, it's whatever. It's pixel money. It doesn't matter. I can do whatever I want with it. But like you go and you buy that first GAC and that's all your money and it's like, okay, well now I'm starting over at zero again. It's like I never want to start at zero again. Even
Mhm.
in real life, I don't want to start off at zero. I want to never have to go back.
I will say, because that leads me a good time to say, I make the stupidest mistakes with money, and as I said, I make money in the game, from companies, stocks, stuff like that, but I heavily supplement it with donator packs, and I've always been honest about that. I've never tried to act like I don't buy donator packs. I rock the blue name for fuck's sake. Um, but I make so many stupid mistakes with money, and that's what you're basically just saying. Don't do that kind of shit. Like recently, I decided to stock up on 30 on 20 e cans, and
Oh
but I
no.
decided to stock up on them while they're at peak
Yeah,
price.
they're in
Yeah,
I
cash and
just didn't
con
think about it at all, dude.
they're
And
gonna next month they're going down, you know.
oh my
tanking.
god, dude! I literally spent the whole night just like, dude, what the fuck did you do? because I did the math on it and I wasted 500 fucking mil when I could have just waited a fucking week to stock up on these cans. Oh, fucking week.
I recently made a mistake too with ranked Warren armor. I've been wanting Delta armor forever, and I overpaid for the body at least over $1 billion. And it's like it hurts, but it's one of those, it's one of those discipline. Like I don't plan on ever having something else, but I had waited months and months and months for something better, and then I still kind of screwed myself.
Dude, I almost don't even want to get fucking started on that because though I think the worst mistake I've ever made in this game, like by far, this is my biggest money fuck up. And this was before our ranked war weapons and all that stuff. Didn't know all that crap was coming out. And so when this sledgehammer came out, it was pretty cool. And I had I had my strength up a decent amount by that. So it seemed like the perfect weapon for me, right? And I bought it early, so I paid like 8 freaking bill for it. And they're worth now, what, $1 billion? I was able to sell it before it completely settled out. So I was able to sell it for, I think, almost $3 billion, but I still lost $5 billion because I was excited about a freaking weapon. And I think I've learned my I always try to never make the same mistake twice. And I use that in real life for my professional work, all that kind of stuff. I try not to make the same mistake twice. So I just have to eat it. But like, yeah, I lost $5 billion there, and I don't like talking about it because that's a lot of money, just as a fuck up. But yeah, so I think that is a good thing to leave on. While making money is important, being smart with it is equally important, and not wasting it in the ways I've described here.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a buildup. Like, there's never going to be a point where I feel like there's enough. Like I thought enough would be 100 billion, 200 billion. I'm going to probably hit 500 billion and think the same thing. It's really just you play the game how you want. If you don't want to be a super competitive player, then money doesn't matter. But money is the most important tool to being a competitive player, in my opinion.
Yeah, I couldn't use these stat enhancers without money. So there you go.
No, and it's like a lot of people have gone and just been like, okay, I can finally use SEs, and then they zero their account, and it's fine to do, but you notice it's just very difficult to come back.
I think the only reason I'm able to come back from it is because of my willingness to drop real money on the game. I think that's the difference there.
I don't want to like say anything bad about that. It's just my mentality has been I've played video games forever. I've never wanted to spend money for a head start in a game or something that I could get myself by working towards it. It's just part of the grind, and I think that's one reason I've pushed so hard.
Yeah, and I really respect that too. But yeah, thanks for talking to us. I think I learned a lot. I think people will have learned a lot.
Yeah, I had a good time.
Good.
Also, say hi to AiR for me. Whenever you have your...
Yeah, we're gonna do that one tomorrow, and we'll probably put that one first.
That one will probably be really interesting too. She's someone that made it through, I'm pretty sure, blackjack. So I hope you guys go and learn however she did it.
Yep.
All right, awesome.
But yeah, thanks for having me.
Of course.
Thank you for coming on. Appreciate it.
Of course. Have a good one, you guys.
You too.
Bye.
All right, and so that I guess that's gonna wrap up episode 12 again. I feel like I learned a lot, and the interviews were actually super cool. And I just want everybody listening to know, including Lieutenant Gentleman, I have removed you from my enemies list and put you on my friends list now, just like we discussed, so you can fund my FHC usage when I use books. But yeah, I feel like that was a really cool episode about learning some kind of like tips and tricks from the bigger net worth players. So it was cool to listen to. So thank you again to both of them for taking the time out of their busy schedules to kind of shoot the shit with us a little bit. As always, hop into our Discord, tell us what you think. What are you using for tips and tricks? And a very, again, special thank you to all of our Patreon subscribers. It is huge, the support that we get, not only, that way, but in Torn, and people still messaging me saying that they like the podcast, and it's been a whirlwind, and I'm very interested to see everybody in the Discord how you guys do for Halloween, since it's finally here. It's finally this week, so super excited about that. And last but not least, we've been doing this for 3 months now straight. We may I'm not counting it out, but I am in the process of moving. And next weekend or this weekend coming up is kind of be our big moving weekend. So there is a chance that we may not be able to get an episode out. If we do, we'll still try and get something together. I don't want to guarantee it because it'll be a little hectic. But just want to throw that out there. We're not going anywhere. It's just we need maybe a 1 week break after 3 months straight. So don't hate us too much, but we'll definitely be back. But yeah, that's the wrap up that we have. And
I got one thing.
Go ahead.
So, if anybody saw in the Discord, I created a little weird giveaway for this Halloween, and I called it Ara's Halloween Beatdown. And so the first people that were able to get names to me for people they want attacked, I've got a list. I think it's like 17 people on it, and basically all of Halloween I am going to hospitalize them when they're online, which is going to be very irritating. And I purposely didn't want too long of a list so I could actually give my focus, love, and attention and sweet embrace to these people. If the list was too long, I wouldn't really be able to do that. I don't have infinite energy. So things might get a little interesting this Halloween. And if you do end up being on the list, it's nothing personal. So, don't hate me too much, but I'm going to come for you.
We can always go the JFK route and you can send $5 billion to AiR to get off of it.
I think that's worth it. Yeah. If you're on the list, you'll know if you're on the list, because I'm going to be on you like Donkey Kong. And there's some awkward people on that list too. I'm not going to say, but it's like, there's some people that because, I had my immune list, which was no natural selection members, no staff, no ad customers, and no Patreons of this, show. So, but then I realized there's that doesn't really cover everybody that I don't really want to be on the list. So there's a couple people on the list I don't really want on the list. So it's going to get weird. I got a mask on. I've got a DBK. I put one merit into stealth. So we're going to see what happens here.
Oh man. It'll be interesting.
Yep. But it seemed like people were really interested in it. And honestly, that kind of the gauge of a good giveaway is the interest in it. So I hope this, again, that's a reason you should be in our Discord. If you're not in our Discord, what are you doing? You could have had a chance to give me somebody to absolutely use and abuse over Halloween. Your mortal enemy. You could have had just locked down in hospital all Halloween. But you're not in our Discord, so you didn't know. So what are you gonna do from here? You're gonna join the Discord.
Got it.
Boom.